First of all, welcome everyone. My name's Wes Williams. I'm a professor of French literature. I'm also the director of Torch, the Oxford Research Centre in the Humanities, which holds, curates, cares very much for the Humanities Cultural Programme. Our ambition and our hope through the Humanities Cultural Programme is to forge inclusive, cross-disciplinary and exciting conversations and performances which extend our imagination of what's possible, both in Oxford but also more broadly at the intersection of research and performance. Jenny's visiting fellowship started with us in the HCP, the Humanities Cultural Programme, back in January. And along with her Oxford University host, Professor Jennifer Altahanger, Jenny has been working on her project, A Personal History of Home. And I say workshop participants because one of the strengths of Jenny's fellowship over the last nearly year has been a whole series of workshops across town in a range of different places, thinking away at the question of home. Jenny's fellowship in some sense culminates with the two activities here today. The first event is a roundtable discussion, Home Away from Home, chaired by Oxford colleagues and Professor Margaret Hillenbrand.
We often think about the beloved people who dwell in home rather than about the objects that inhabit a dwelling place.
Along with Professor Jennifer Altahanger.
What's a comfort zone? Is home automatically a comfort zone? Is it not? And how does that relate to material culture and materiality?
With panellists Dr. Denise Kwan and Nina Mingya Powells, and of course Jenny herself.
Coming back to that idea of homeliness, I think the things for sure belong in the home, right? They kind of come from the home, they come from the domestic space. And in coming from the domestic space, there is also a whole architecture of embodied knowledge within that. Chinese families, there are lots of ways that we don't say what we mean to say to each other. And so food becomes kind of the things that bind us together, and it becomes an easier language in a way.
I think cooking for me is really an extension of my creative practice as a writer and artist, as a kind of act of making.
So I think that's like this healing effect of making things together.
And how can we kind of construct and collage together a different mode of understanding our stories on a really embodied basis through our material things.
Just make me feel like there's this sense of permission that to write is possible, and that we can kind of tell all sorts of stories.
Jenny will then be joined by a selection of workshop participants, writers and artists, for a collective reading. The collective reading then will be A Tapestry of Homes. Jenny will also be sharing her own work written as part of this visiting fellowship.
And so we will start with music, which is by Serena, composed by Fong Lam, called Nocturnes.
Full of inspirational, thoughtful writing, much of which is concerned with questions of what is home, where are homes, how do homes manifest and materialize.
Breathing in the Arctic air, sitting homeless, staring out into the beds of snow.
Some strangers I know better than others. We only met because the stranger resembled someone I knew before I arrived in this country.
This dress is made of peaches, and the sustainable material lasts as long as the message to you remains undelivered.
That summer, when the shower drain was blocked for weeks, I walked into the fever freely.
In a place of shouts, question, tumult, like it is ours.
We flow down like milk squeezed from our mothers. We'll be home late tonight.
You lost an hour of sleep many months ago. Your friends want to meet you in a beer garden later. It's suddenly safe to go outside again. Thank you.
In photos, my brother is an infant with jaundice, or a high school graduate. Not much of it.
Do you like being a demure, Grandpa? No. Oh. Why do you come here? It is not so nice here. I see my friends. Do you like other parts of Vietnam better? America's nicer.
The language I speak, the language I am, we are Laz.
in the languages of God. Eterno is the language in which I give myself to you.
I can't believe it. It's just 1 year after the British left. You know what? You can no longer post a letter with a stamp showing the Queen's face.
The ghost of your mother is waiting for you in arrivals.
You fold your paper into squares, such uneven lines. Sun-edged hilltop, before a walk, a bus ride, a metro. Home.
Jenny really managed to create a sense of home that moved across such different cultures, such different experiences. We brought very disparate perspectives as a set of writers to gather in such a historic space as the Holywell Music Room. To hear each other's words and to feel like they were all held was possibly the most exciting part of that evening.
I think of us as scattered planets in the cosmic tapestries of our histories. Home is the force with which we attract one another.
Everybody's versions of home and what home meant to them were so different and yet so equally enthralling, and it left me with a totally different perspective.
Our ambition and our hope through the Humanities Culture Programme is to forge inclusive, cross-disciplinary and exciting conversations and performances which extend our imagination of what's possible both in Oxford but also more broadly at the intersection of research and performance. In other words, we're trying to reimagine collaborative creative practice and to engage new audiences in the cultural adventure of events and activity that take place across Oxford City and indeed beyond.